Hey, happy Monday, everyone. I hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Mine was very restful as well as productive. Good combination. So I wanted to go live today and talk about a really important topic. And this topic is rewriting your past. And you want to ask why maybe I wanted to talk about this today. And it relates to some really cool coaching sessions that I had last week, as well as some new class on self-coaching scholars that I took a look at and started diving into. So rewriting your past, what does that look like? Well, let me just start by saying that I don't care if you had the most perfect childhood on the planet, which most of us did not have a perfect childhood, you still have some baggage from the past and things that are holding you back. They could be holding you back in your love life. They could be holding you back in your business. They could be holding you back in your ability to reach the level of the weight and fitness level that you are trying to attain, or a combination of all of those things and more. And it could be something so simple, but what that does is it's kind of like created a groove in your brain, and that's blocking you from receiving the things or going for the things that it is you want or allowing them into your life. So what do I mean by that? I'll give you an example from my own life. So I was one of 4 children. I was second of 4. There was 3 girls, girl, which is me, the second one, boy, and girl in my family. And my parents weren't loaded. They weren't broke, but they weren't loaded. And, they worked very hard to provide. And, with 4 children and 2 parents working full time, there wasn't always excess time and attention of theirs available for all of us, nor was there, when we asked for things that we wanted, there was oftentimes we didn't get them, right? So that was just the reality in my house growing up. And there was a few incidences, like I will name one. I can remember being in swimming, and I don't remember how old I was. I was like, loved swimming. I was probably like around 8 or 9. And I really wanted this pair of goggles with orange lenses. Like, I wanted these goggles. Like, I would dream that I got the goggles and they were like under my bed, and it was like so real that I got them in the dream. And then I would wake up and I would it was such a real dream that I would be like looking under my bed and like looking everywhere for my goggles because it was so real that I'd received them, but my parents didn't get them for me. My parents actually never got me the goggles. No matter how much I asked, how much I begged, whatever, they never got me the goggles. They did, however, buy my little sister a pair of goggles with blue lenses, but like the ones that I wanted, but they never bought me my own pair of goggles. So I had this little thing in my brain that says, you never get what you want. Other people get what you want, but you don't get what you want. And then another time, similar thing happened. This time it was with a Barbie doll that I wanted. I think I was around 11 or 12. So kind of like getting out of the age where you still want Barbies, but still I wanted a Barbie, right? It was a tropical Barbie, and it wasn't the Barbie. It was like the Teresa, so her skin was like more olive colored like mine, and she had long brown hair. So I wanted this doll, this Barbie, and I put it on my Christmas list, right? So this wasn't a crazy expensive Barbie. It was a simple Barbie. There's no reason I shouldn't have gotten this particular Barbie for Christmas, right? So Christmas morning comes, presents are opened. Lo and behold, no Barbie for me. But my parents bought that same Barbie that I asked for my little sister, and she didn't ask for that Barbie. So again, I got this thing like, I can ask for things, but I won't get them. They'll actually be given to someone else. And I didn't realize these 2 events had, I'm sure there's other incidents. I'm not going to beat my parents up here for an hour. Where similar things happen, asked for something, I wanted something, it went to a sibling, not to me. And so this became this subconscious thing. And it came out in one of my coaching sessions last week, and I was working with my coach, and she was like, you have this this thing, like, she's like, you're blocking yourself from getting these things that you want. And I was like, why would I block myself from getting some things that I want? And she's like, I don't know. Let's talk about it, right? So she started asking me a series of questions and kind of like diving in, right? Like, ask yourself, like, why you're doing this. So I like asked myself the question, and like those two incidences like popped up. It was like, whoa. And she's like, wow, you have this model running in your head where you don't get what you want, other people get it, but you don't. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, right? So she's like, well, we got to work on that. I'm like, well, heck yeah, right? Like, who wants to like not get the stuff they want? Like, nobody, not because of some weird energetic crap from your past. So that led me to the process of, she told me to take a look at this process in Scholars called Rewriting Your Past. And y'all, let me tell you how powerful this is, right? This is huge. This rewriting your past is like huge. So here's kind of an overview of the process, right? So like in the case of my story, let's just take you would just take one of the two to start with. So we can talk about the goggles, or we could talk about the Barbie. Either way, you first start by writing down the story, like exactly as you remember it, with all your drama and all your victiminess, and that my parents shouldn't have done that, and how horrible they were to me, and how unfair it was that they got this for my sister and not for me, and how unloved I felt, and blah, 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 right? So you write all that out and you get it out. You get it out of your brain. You don't like stuff it down. You don't tell yourself it wasn't that bad. Like for this particular part, you write it down in all its drama glory, right? You let your brain download all of that onto a piece of paper, right? And then you look at that, and it's like, and then you say, okay, how would I like to remember this event instead? So now you rewrite that same event, but this time from an empowering place. Like, my parents worked really, really hard. They really struggled to raise 4 kids. They had to make sacrifices and choices about what things they were going to buy for one and not and the other. And you write it from an empowering place. Like, so grateful that, you know, I got to see my little sister get this and not me, because this actually taught me to be really dependent on myself. And, you know, so you rewrite the story in a completely empowering way. And you finish it off by, you know, how your parents were, you know, so, you know, that was so loving of them, and how they did their best. And, you know, maybe would have liked for them to have done things a little bit differently, but you can see how they did their best, and how this actually worked out in its best way for you, because you developed resilience, strength, like whatever good qualities you developed from in your life, right? And so then you write that down. So then that's like how you choose to remember it. So instead of remembering the victim-y, my parents mistreated me, I was horrible, they were horrible to me, you rewrite that story into an empowering one on how these events that actually prepared you for life and prepared you to be the person that you are today. And there's a lot of magic in that, because here's the thing, y'all, the past is gone. Like, it doesn't exist at all. It doesn't exist. It literally does not exist. It only exists in the stories we tell ourselves in our minds, right? The past cannot hurt us. It only hurts us if we choose to think about it in a painful way and to hold on to that, right? So I'm not talking about like PTSD or some like psychologically like diagnosed condition. So like, and there's therapies for that. I'm not talking about that, right? I'm talking about like the disappointments of our past, the things about how we were raised and stuff like that. Like, that our past does not exist anymore. It doesn't exist. The only place it exists is in our mind. And the only way it can hurt us is if we choose to think negative things about the past, and if we choose to tell ourselves stories about the past that are disempowering and are hurtful. That is the only way our past can hurt us. It's the only way. And so the way to get past that, the way to change that, the way to choose not to have, have your past torture you, because it really is your own thoughts about your past that are torturing you and nothing else, is to rewrite the story, because you can tell yourself anything that you want and it will believe it. Your subconscious mind accepts everything. If you tell your subconscious mind that you're a chicken, like that's how like those stage hypnotists like get people to cluck like a chicken, because they get them in the hypnotic state and they're talking directly to their subconscious. And so in that moment, when the hypnotist is giving them direction, it's going directly to their subconscious, and they literally think they're a chicken, right? So you can tell yourself anything. You can tell your subconscious anything and it will believe it. So why would you choose to tell yourself disempowering, hurtful things when you can change that and tell yourself instead positive things about your past and how strong it made you and what an advantage it was and all that? Because your subconscious is going to believe it whichever way you tell it. So you might as well tell it in a way that actually serves you. And I know I mentioned this on a live I think it was last week. It goes hand in hand with what the famous hypnotherapist, Marissa Peer said, lie, cheat, steal, right? Lie to yourself, cheat fear, and steal your life back, right? So you can tell yourself anything. You can tell yourself good lies, that you're an amazing person, that everything that you've gone through has just made you strong, made you resilient, made you capable. Or you can lie to yourself and tell yourself that everything that you've gone through has made you helpless and hopeless and a depressed loser. Like whichever way, there is no absolute truth. It's only opinion. So you might as well lie to yourself in a way that is beneficial for you. And you can do that by rewriting your past. And again, the process of writing it down on a piece of paper. And don't worry if your handwriting is horrible like mine is, because like I can barely even read my writing. Like I can type like nobody's business, but it's really important to write. You're not going to need to read it after you write it. So don't worry if your handwriting is absolutely atrocious. Write down the disempowering and write down the empowering, and then cross out that disempowering one and choose that you're not going to tell that story anymore. It's just a story, right? It's a story. How do you know that your past and the thing where you were like victimized and you was horrible because your parents didn't love you, how do you know it's a story? Because not everyone would agree, right? If you rounded up every eyewitness of your childhood, everybody wouldn't agree with what they saw. So it's not fact, right? It's a story that you've told yourself about something. So tell yourself a different story and choose to believe a better story. It's really that simple. I know it seems like crazy it's that simple, but it really is that simple. And it's amazing what you can accomplish when you learn to tell yourself better stories. It really is. It's one of the things that as a coach I do with my clients, and it's one of the things that I continue to get coached on myself, because you can never have too many empowering stories running through your mind. You never can have too many stories in your mind that are telling you that you can do whatever it is that you want. And so, yeah, I invest in my own coach. I actually have two coaches. I invest in my own coaches to get me to where I want to be in life and help me get through the things that are all in my head, because everything's all in our head that's holding me back. So if you need help with that, if you need help creating your dream life, your dream business, you need help rewriting your past and telling yourself, finding an empowering story that you can tell yourself that's going to propel you forward and help you create the impossible in your life, go ahead and text MOON to 90407 to book a complimentary consultation with me. I have a couple spots left in afternoons this week. I look forward to talking to you and helping you get over your past, get over your subconscious limitations, and helping you really skyrocket your life. Lots of love. I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your